What's the difference between really good combinations and random flurries of strikes? A lot of fighters cannot tell the difference. In this video, I'm going to give you a checklist that's going to massively improve your combo game. So I hope you're taking notes. Let's dive in. Okay, number one, a combination is not the same as a flurry. A flurry is just volume. It's a bunch of strikes thrown at the exact same target, hoping that something's just going to break through. A combination, on the other hand, is deliberate. It's built to manipulate defense and attention. So a really common mistake is throwing 5 or 6 shots all at the exact same place. If I throw 5 or 6 shots and my opponent starts blocking, more often than not, that's kind of just a waste of energy to just keep going after the same target. Unless I'm really overwhelming them and breaking them down mentally, but that's not a combination, that's a flurry. Number 2, good combinations move the defense. So for example, if you throw a straight punch at your opponent's face, they may decide to use a high guard to defend it. This may leave their body slightly open for your next strike. Or they might base up their stance and leave their leg more susceptible for a leg kick. Or their hands might come closer to the front of their face, leaving the sides of their heads more exposed. However they react, the point is when they defend, they are inevitably going to leave something else slightly exposed, either physically or mentally. If you're fast and your combinations are well rehearsed, and you mix up the targets, you put your opponent in a situation where they're constantly having to react and catch up to the next strike of your combination. So remember it this way, every defense creates a new weakness, a new susceptibility, a new vulnerability, and every good combination is built to walk your opponent from one weakness into the next quickly. Okay, number 3, and this one's super important. Think of combinations as manipulation of your opponent's attention. You're forcing your opponent's mind to analyze what just happened. And by the time they've analyzed it, you're already 2 steps ahead. It's like a detective trying to track down a criminal. But every time they come to the crime scene, the criminal's already gone and they're on to their next crime. Fighters' minds work in a very similar way, except in microseconds. It's always trying to analyze exactly what just happened and predict what's going to happen next. But if you're attacking very quickly and you're always 1 step ahead, it is possible to overwhelm their attention. And that's when combinations really start to work, and that's when the strikes really start to connect. All right, number 4, every fighter needs a handful of go-to combinations that are really well rehearsed, really well prepared, can be fired automatically and seamlessly. However, at an advanced level, fighters should be able to figure out what combinations to throw based on the specific vulnerabilities that they see in their opponent. Sometimes your opponent's overreactions are going to be physical, structural. That means they're going to maneuver their defense in a way that leaves something else physically vulnerable. But sometimes, if you pay close attention, your opponent's overreaction is going to be a mental one. That means they're going to over-allocate attention to your strike in a way that leaves them less mentally prepared to analyze the next strike in the sequence of your combination. And so every opponent's going to have slightly different tendencies, but you need to pay attention to those tendencies, and that's going to help you prepare the best possible combinations for that opponent. So for some opponents, for example, you might step into box with them, and the way they're going to posture themselves to defend your punches leaves their legs very vulnerable. Sometimes because they spread their feet wide and base down really low so that you can kick the legs easily, they can't get their legs up fast enough to defend it. But sometimes just all their mental focus is on your hands and they're just not thinking about their legs at that moment. So for that particular opponent, a good combination might be something like starting with punches, going down to leg kicks, and when they overreact to that, then coming back up to punches again. All right, moving forward to number 5. Do not expect to land every single strike in your combination. Sometimes you will, but most of the time you won't. Sometimes you'll land the first shot and that will overwhelm your opponent, and it's like a door opener so that it's easier to land the rest of the strikes in the combo. But that usually doesn't work out that way. Most of the time, opponents are well prepared to deal with 1 or 2 strikes. Magic often happens around strike 3, 4, and 5, especially if you're fast. That's the more likely phase of the combination when your opponent's defense, footwork, and even just their mental state is going to start to break down. So when you throw combinations, try to do it from the mindset that even if they defend some of your strikes, it's not going to break the flow of your sequence. Remember, it's to overload their perception, their attention. So go ahead and let them defend some of your strikes because that just leaves less mental capacity for them to deal with the rest of them. Okay, this is number 6, the last one. Control the retreat. Understand that when fighters get overwhelmed, more often than not, their reflex is to step back, to retreat, to create space, to get safe so they can reset and reanalyze. Don't want to let them have that. Don't let them stop your combination when they want to. When they retreat, be prepared to step forward, to fill that gap, to stay in range, to continue striking and continue overwhelming. This is the moment when you can follow your combination with another combination. When your opponent starts to retreat, especially out of desperation, that is exactly where you want them to be. That is exactly the whole purpose of the combination. So once you've established forward momentum and your opponent is stumbling backwards and they're in a frenzy, that's exactly when you want to keep the pressure on them. Congratulations, your combination is successful. All right, so to recap, combinations are deliberate. They're not flurries. There's a difference between combos and flurries. They have intention. They move and manipulate your opponent's defense. They make your opponent fall behind mentally and physically. They don't depend on landing every single strike in the combination, and good combo fighters know how to anticipate and control their opponent's retreat. If you want to get good at combinations, prepare them in advance, rehearse them, make them automatic, make them fire without you having to think too much about them. Develop them so they're fast, they're hard, they're fluid, and they're hard to stop. And learn how to read the tendencies of your opponent and develop combinations on the fly. Do these things again and again, and I promise you, you'll become a dangerous combo fighter. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next one.